Enjoy their dinner. I'd like to cover a couple of business items before we get started. There's little personal things. About 2 months ago, I ended up with what I believe is an oxygen bottle container. Nobody owns it? Okay. Anyone feel ill? Just checking. Okay. Next item. I have a cell phone here, and I don't know the password, otherwise I would use it. But it says here that Richard Kennard called him. Mike's weather page. Who else? Marion and Larry called, texted. Thomas Forte called. Does anyone have the password? Seriously, I got an extra iPhone here. Going once, going twice. Is it yours? Come up here and check it. You know, anyone that, how much does a cell phone cost? There should be a fee for this, right? Is that yours? Check it out.
Well, I'll be able to tell you in 1 second because I can do this. There it is.
No, wait. Now, what do you think the fine should be? Oh, I'll tell you. And I don't know what happened to the computer. Wait a minute. Okay, good. I'd like to welcome you. It's normally in the summer months we have about 65 people here. We have 120 plus tonight. You'd think it was an election season or something. No, seriously, it's great that you guys are here. And it's one of those times that it's an election year and it's an important year and there's some serious issues coming up that requires a lot more knowledge than I have, and so that's why I invited these people here tonight. So let me share something else with you. And that didn't work, did it? Wait a minute. I love this new gadgets. Yeah, that work? Okay. What's tonight's meeting with the supervisor elections? We have Leah Valenti versus David Kalin, and they'll be up here shortly. And I want to walk through some things before we do that. I want to thank you for joining us, but I want to also introduce some other guests, and I want to sit back and congratulate those that have already won the elections. This is in the newspaper. We have Wendy Atkinson. Wendy's not here tonight, is she? I didn't think so. Vicki Potts is not here, but those two won because no one challenged them. And we have three more, Roger Eaton, Ken Doherty, and Paul Polk. They also won because nobody challenged them. And the only thing that tells me when nobody's challenged is they're probably doing a good job, aren't they? And that's nice to see. Okay. Yeah, it is, I agree. In addition to that, there's a lot of people that sign up to be public servants. Some of you here, some of you I just showed you, and I'd like to thank them all because it's a very difficult thing to do, to step forward and do something for your community, and that I thank you all for. Thank you. Now I want to introduce some candidates here tonight. I love new computers. Okay, these are election candidates. State Representative Danny Nix versus Tony Dunbar, and because Michael Grant termed out. None of those two are here, right? Okay, and then we have Vanessa Oliver versus Stephen Sirache, Is that pronounced that right? Yeah, you got it. Sriracha, okay. Because Spencer Roach decided he's not running. Okay. And we have those folks here. Vanessa, stand up. Stephen, stand up. And I wish we had enough time to listen to all of them here tonight, but we don't. We have two speakers here tonight. I want to devote the majority of attention to those two speakers as opposed to just lots of us candidates, lots of those candidates. We have Gene Murtha versus John Bothwell as state committeeman. Gene, where are you? Gene, stand up. And John, I saw you here tonight. Where's John? John Bothwell. There you go. All right. And we have State Committee woman Deborah McMullen versus Kathleen Pellegrino. Deborah, Kathleen. All right. And I'm bound to mess this up eventually. Okay, judges. Now, judges are they Republican or Democrat? No party affiliation. NPAs. Okay, we have Sean Lux, Jeff Rapkin, Catherine Wallace on Group 1. Sean here tonight? I hate to say this, but he signed up for it. I didn't think he could come either, but he did sign up for it. You take his dinner to him? Okay, good. In Group 3, Michael Powell and Scott Weinberg. Those are two of the groups of the judges. And county commissioners. All right. County Commission, Bill Truex versus Hal Daniels. Now, Bill's not here, but Hal is. I've seen Hal. There he is. There's Hal down there. And District 5, Joe Teseo versus David Kesseling. I didn't see Joe here. And I knew David wasn't coming. Anyway, those two are voting against, competing against each other. County Sheriff Bill Promell and Ryan Barber. I didn't see Ryan here either. And I think I'd recognize Bill Promell, the little short guy. Okay, all right. School Board, Kim Amatry versus Leonardo Trent. Kim, there you go. And Bob Seeger versus Karina Schmidt. Bob? This is another area where we have they're nonpartisan, the school board. Now, I mention this to you because some of the handouts I've made that you could have picked up, you can pick them on the way out, they'll talk about the different things that they do and who's competing against whom. Now, what's interesting is that I look at the school board and I've listened to them and I've talked about, I researched them and talked about some of you folks, how they're doing. How do you think our school board is doing? Good, good, raise your hands. I think they're doing a great job. And I've talked to people about them, and I've watched what they're doing. And I say this because at the November elections, you have an opportunity to sit back and change it from nonpartisan back to partisan after 24, 26 years. Okay? Now, I want to make sure that we understand that personally, in this group here, for the most part, we're very happy with our school board. So if they do changes back to a partisan group, I don't think it should be a reflection of what we have in our school board here. I think they've done a terrific job. I want to share something with you. How many have you seen the code of student conduct that the school board has? One. How many school board people are here? I'll tell you, I've looked at that and I'm thinking that is a nice, nice document. They've worked hard at it. They've given responsibilities to the kids in school. They've given responsibilities to the school board members, to the teachers themselves, and it's a nice balance. And I commend you guys for that. Please pass this on to your school board members. Thank you very much. They deserve a round of applause. Who else we got? Okay, City Council. Bill Dryberger is supposed to be here tonight with me. Gregory, Julian. What's Gregory? Gregory. And Donna Peterman versus Janine Polk. Neither one of those are here. I haven't seen Lynn Matthews or Janice Denton. No. I didn't think so. Okay. Charlotte County Airport, Bob Starr, Drew Rossi, and Stephen Leskovich. So Stephen was supposed to be here. Stephen, there you go. In County Airport, District 3 and District 5 have already been won by Shan Swelland and T.J. Thornberry, basically because they had no opposition. Okay. Elected officials and other special guests. Debbie Locke, City Council, is here. Debbie. And the young lady that led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, Kara Reynolds. And Bill Abate-Mateo, newly elected the Republican Executive Committee Chairman. Bill, where are you? Now, Bill did ask me to say a few words. Come on up here, Bill. What?
Melissa Lockhart. Yeah, Melissa Lockhart from the City Council. City Council, Melissa Lockhart.
Where? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Melissa Lockhart. I didn't recognize you. My apologies. I didn't have you on my list. Thank you. Bill?
Well, thank you, Jerry. I'm Bill Abate-Mateo, just recently elected as chairman of the Republican Party. I want to thank everybody for being here. The clubs are very important, as are a number of other organizations that are liberty-oriented. We have a lot of races this year. We have 13, actually, races that people have opposed on the local level, not counting what may happen on the national level. But 10 of those will be decided in this primary coming up. And as a party, right now, we stay neutral. We haven't endorsed anybody yet. We may, but that's to be decided. But I encourage everybody, get behind the candidate of your choice. Work for them. That's democracy in action. Listen to what they say. We have a lot of important races going on. Even within our party, we have state committee men and state committee women. It's a 4-year term. They represent us on the local level, along with myself, the 3 people, the committee woman, the committee man, and the chairman of the local party, make up the Republican Party of Florida, along with the other 67 counties and other elected officials on the state level. That's very important to the party. Listen to what the people have to say. We're having our monthly meeting tomorrow. We're going to be starting our ground game. We're going to be gearing up to election, and I'm happy to say that our precinct operation, we're made up of elected people, elected representatives of each area, of each voting precinct. And I know a lot of you are elected precinct people. How many here are members of the party? Right, they're elected. And we're going to start our ground game tomorrow. I've put it in motion. I've announced that Bill Schmidt will be our precinct coordinator, our commander on the ground, and we have captains of each district that have 25 to 30 precinct people under them, and most of them are here tonight. Chris McNamara, Kat Pellegrino, Carol Bordelin. Is Jeannie Johnson here? No. And Bill Schmidt has got many, many years of the ground game. But I'm asking the other members that are here tonight, we rely on the clubs for your support, not just to come out to rallies and sign wavings like we've done. We've had 2 so far, and we will do more. And I'm going to make a major announcement tomorrow for a major rally that we're going to be holding. But I'm going to hold off officially to our meeting tomorrow night. And so our members will be the first one to hear it. But we need your participation. We need everybody's time, talents, and treasures. You just can't rely on the 111 people who make up the Republican Party officially. We got 76,000 registered Republicans here. Probably 400 or 500 within the clubs and another few hundred in other liberty-minded organizations. We need your help. So stay tuned. We'll be notifying the club presidents of our activities and how you can get involved, whether you want to poll watch, certainly sign waving, but just helping us out in the precincts to get the message out. And certainly, our goal this year is to make America first and get President Donald Trump reelected to the White House. But we will need your help. You know, I used to think that, you know, all of you are foot soldiers on the ground. No, you're bigger than that. You're the generals out there. You are all leaders, whether you're officially part of our party or not. But we need your help. And I have to say that, you know, we're self-reliant on donations. We're one of the few RECs, Republican Executive Committee. That's officially what we're called by state law. But we are the Republican Party. We are the Charlotte County GOP. We're one of the few Republican parties in the state of Florida that staff an office up on Tamiami Trail. And that's staffed with volunteers. And we can always use more volunteers, even if you donate an hour or two a month. And our office manager is in the corner, Christine McNamara, who's also a member of this club, like I am, and many of you are. She's always looking for volunteers. We're going to be ramping that up. We'll be getting Trump signs in as soon as he is officially declared the presidential nominee. We don't have them in yet. But your time, talents, and of course treasures, go to our website, and I have to ask you for donations. That's our only source of income. We have to pay rent for that building. We have to buy materials. We have to buy office supplies. We have to pay for our insurance and other operating expenses throughout the year. CharlotteGOP.com. You can donate $5 or as much as you want. I always say there's no donation too little or no donation too much.
I have a timer.
Am I done? All right, and I am done, and I want to thank you for that opportunity. And all right, Jerry, thank you.
I knew there's a reason I had a timer here tonight. Anyway, thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. And Bill is very accurate. We need help, and we need volunteers, and we need your money. I've showed this to other meetings, but not this larger group. But this is the city council and their areas of responsibility. And oftentimes we don't see that on a map. We have Donna Peterman, Bill Dryberg, Debbie Lynn, and Melissa Lockhart. That's where their districts are. Okay? I know you go on the website and check this, but how many guys really go on the website and check this stuff? Nobody, hardly. I know. Okay, how about the Charlotte County Commission District? Stephen Deutsch, Bill Truex, Joe Ceseo, Ken Doherty, Chris. It looks like Ken Doherty's out there taking care of the cows. Well, that's okay. The cows need to be tended to. Uh-oh. Vanessa Oliver's out there helping with the cows. This is the Airport Authority, and they have Bob Hansick, T.J. Thornberry, Kathleen Copeland, and Shel Swelland. These folks, Vanessa is shifting, and she's out. And so they'll have someone that's going to elect in there. Now, how about the school board? Here's what Kara is. Kim Ametree, Wendy Atkinson, John Leclerc. So Bob Seeger. Bob Seeger, you had a long drive, didn't you? Where is he? Where's Bob? You had a long drive to get here, didn't you? Thank you. You know, he was asking me tonight, why are you limping so badly? Well, I played tennis here at the club, and we had a match last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, and I overextended my left knee. And it's painful as hell, to be honest with you. But you know the nicest part about this? We won our match. Anyway, that wasn't the answer I gave Bob Seeger earlier. I've handed out a bunch of forms out there on the table. You can pick them up when you come in. But this is one form that's out there. It's important election dates. And it talks about July 15th through 18th, the Republican National Convention. And it talks about the Democratic National Convention. You know, one's colored red, one's colored blue, right? Just checking. Okay. Now, June 14th was the filing deadline we had. That's why some of those people won their election, because after the filing deadline at noon, no candidates showed up. That's why they won, which is good. And we have a presidential debate. When is that? Tomorrow. What time? 9 o'clock. Just checking to make sure you're paying attention. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that when Trump basically said, by the way, this form is out there. You can have a copy of it. I make sure that all these forms are available to free people. They can take it home with them. And what's interesting, there's no audience, right? And they can mute the speaker, right? They can mute the person that's not speaking. Okay. So why do you suppose they're doing this? Biden can get off track in a heartbeat. You can interrupt him. He loses train of thought. You know, fumble and mumble and stumble and trip. So they're trying to correct all that, which is fine. The thing that's concerning me is, yeah, the thing that's interesting is that anything Trump says is going to interrupt him. Anything. I'm wondering if they're really going to allow him to listen. Would they allow Biden to even listen to what Trump says? Just food for thought. If you ever watch Biden, he stands there in his cage straight ahead. And it's a scary thought because that's our leader, and you don't know where the heck he is. So anyway, tomorrow night should be an interesting night because I've said this before. I said this a month ago at this meeting right here, and I basically said that if the Democrats come to the conclusion that Trump cannot win this, something's going to happen to him physically, and he would not be the nominee. See, I mean, Biden will not be the nominee. Now, here's the deal. Until the Republican National Convention or the Democratic National Convention, both of these people, Biden and Trump, are presumptive nominees. Anything can change until the convention. So, we'll see how he makes out in the debate, but I'd be willing to bet you that we will not have Biden as a contender. Got too much against him. And what I said at the last meeting is, if they change up, if I were on the committee to plan Biden's campaign, I would basically say, what you do is you step down physically, not mentally, but physically, and someone else is going to step up. And this person that steps up is basically going to say, listen, I don't care what happened before, but we can't have a country without a border because it's not a country. So we need to open those borders. We need to go back and drill, get more oil in here. We need to do all these things that Biden did, and we're going to change our mind and reverse it. Do you think that would garner a number of votes? Yes, it would. I have no idea what's going on behind me. But anyway, that's my presumption as to what might happen. So watch that debate very carefully. And this, by the way, a copy of this is out there. Last chart, I think. Oh, board members. Can I have all my board members stand up, please? They've done a terrific job tonight. Where are they? Please stand up. All the board members. 2 of them stand up. I'm the one with a bad knee. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate all your help. And we've been going through these. By the way, Bob Winmer's not here, but if you have any name tags, we have those for you. Reservations, Sheila McNamara. By the way, please don't forget, you make a reservation. It's 6 p.m. the week before. Please try to remember that because the club here does a terrific job. This is a private club, and we appreciate them being here. This is not a restaurant. And we have a club newsletter. Janine Polk can't be there, but she is normally our newsletter coordinator. She does a great job. She does. Other chart. Okay, wait a minute. The meetings are online. I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible. If we can do anything for you, please let us know. I have little cards out there. You want to contact me directly, contact me directly. They have all the phone numbers on there of the appropriate people. The little tiny business cards you can put in your wallet. What else you have here? Dinner time. You guys enjoy your dinner? No. I enjoyed all my meals here. Anyway, now let's get into the meat of this. we want to invite Charlotte County Supervisor election debate. And when I first heard about this, Paul Stimulus was a friend for many years. And I was down in his office a lot, chatting with him about different things. We came from similar parts of the country. He was a history buff. And so when I checked in there, he said, what's your, I don't know why this keeps kicking off. He said, what's your, he found out I'm from Boston. And so the first thing he asked me if I knew anything about Paul Revere. Of course, we all do. But when he quit rather suddenly, and I thought, well, gee, that's unusual. I hope he's good, and he's fine. But I said, something's wrong, and I ignored it. I didn't pay any attention to it. I said, well, whatever's going wrong, they'll sort it out. Well, it turned out that little by little, other things kept coming out. And so I kept thinking, we need to go ahead and ask about what's happening. So the best way to do this is to have a forum here, have a debate, and let one side present theirs, let the other side present theirs, and sit back and say, okay, you guys make up your mind who's the most credible, and that's who you're going to vote for. But the bottom line is, there's too much controversy going on, and I decided, I didn't even write a question, but I decided I wanted to have this recorded tonight. I'm going to get the original copy. I don't want any questions about it, because there's too many questions happening, what's going on. We're in a private club, so I ask, please keep it decorum, please keep it conservative, please keep it polite, and that's why I asked all the questions to be put in writing, and I think that's important. So we'll keep it civil, and we're going to have each of them going to get 10 minutes to discuss what they make their presentation, and I've invited Janine Orndorff here. Raise your hand, Janine. And I'd like to, in addition to my sitting back and giving a lot of credibility to the school board, guess what? Janine's a high school teacher. I don't know if I should applaud her or be very sympathetic toward her. But we get a couple of things coming up before we start the debate. And one is, who was the guy that's on the radio touting July 4th? He's a son of an attorney. He's an attorney himself. You ever see his articles in there about the 4th of July and the swim across the river? Mike Heyman's? Remember Mike Heyman's? Ken Heyman's son? That just tells you I've been living here too damn long. Anyway, there's two ways to get across that river. One you can swim across, and another way you can walk across. I've been here long enough to see the wind in the correct direction at the low tide to be able to walk across. I've done it once. Little puddles, that's all you get, but there's sandy bottom, and it's an amazing thing to do. Anyway, I have a timer, Ruth Thompson. Ruth, raise your hand. I'll tell Ruth to stand up, but she doesn't get any taller. And so what we need to do, we'll get this debate started, and I would like Leah Valente to come up. Each of them going to get 10 minutes to start with, and I'm going to let my timers do their thing. Did you want to say something before we start? Is this on? Not yet, but turn it on. Push the button on the left-hand side. Push it and hold it. There you go.
So if we could please, I have all the questions, and if we could please not shout things out at our candidates, that would be super awesome and cool. And I'm so grateful to be able to do this, and I'm so grateful that my candidates are here, and I'm excited to hear from them, and so are you. Let's go.
Okay. Let's welcome our appointee, Leah Valente. Leah.
Just want to say, yes, I'm Leah Valente, your Supervisor of Elections. I'm terrible at standing behind podiums. I'm used to having a microphone and like roaming about the room. If you know me, you do know that I have one of my amazing election workers here tonight, and she can probably tell you I'm like a walk about the room kind of person. So I will try my very best at standing behind here. But it's wonderful to be here tonight. Thank you for having me. It is my honor and a privilege to serve as your supervisor of elections. I was appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis last year on June 30th, 2023, and hit the ground running. I had a large task at hand. I was charged with coming in, breath of fresh air, fresh set of eyes, new leadership. And sometimes, that takes hitting the ground running, but more importantly, understanding what the voters want. Understanding, having one of the first things I charged to do was meeting with the election workers and understanding what's being said out there, what are people caring about. And it was really important to me to hear from individuals like yourself. So voter education and voter outreach immediately started that. Getting out into the public and understanding what's going on, how important and what are the issues to you. Because how can I be a public servant, which is exactly what I am for all of you, if I don't understand what you want? It's not about sitting behind a desk and sitting behind, an office with your name, your moniker on it. It's about being out. And I'm consistently out and hearing from voters what's important to them and talking to them about what's real and the facts, and above all, Florida law. Because when I was appointed, I had to hold my hand up and be sworn in, I held my hand up to uphold the Constitution and Florida law. When I was interviewed for the position, because an appointment is just like any other job. You get job applications, they go through, they vet you, right? Everybody knows what an appointment is, an appointment process, and others put in for it as well. And you know what? They look at your application, they look at your specifications, they look at every single part, your background, your qualifications. And they said to me, you are the one because of who you are in the community, your ethics, your morals, your background, and your integrity. And the number one thing that Governor DeSantis wanted was to ensure that Florida remains the gold standard of the country in elections. And he wanted somebody in office that would keep up and uphold his and the Florida legislature's election laws. And that's my job when you hold your hand up, is to ensure that you hold up those laws and you get out there and you tell all of you, hey, vote by mail. Guess what? Everybody got taken off the vote by mail rolls, but you know what? It's my job to tell you, if you want to exercise that one of three ways to vote, if you want to vote by mail, it's my job to get out there and tell you you've been removed from the list. You need to ensure that if you want to vote by mail, that you're able to. That's my job. That's voter education. That's voter outreach. Also my job to ensure that you can't bring your vote by mail into a voting booth, right? You don't want to commit any crime. Nobody here does. That's my job to let you know. Another job I was tasked with, immediately, all the election workers said, sample ballots, supervisor, sample ballots. We want the voters when they come in, we want them to understand the issues, right? You want to know what you're walking into. You should know the issues that you're walking into and the candidates. You should be educated, right? Sample ballots, very important. So we mail sample ballots out. I've administered 2 very successful elections to the city of Punta Gorda race, which much of Debbie's team was a part of and saw every day, canvassing board and everything else, and the presidential preference primary. I implemented a new security, another layer of security, as I like to say, in election integrity, which is called Clear Ballot. So what Clear Ballot is, it is certified by the Secretary of State and the governor. And what it is we have a 100% digital image of every ballot, and it ensures the accuracy. So the tabulators tabulate it, and then we get it back. It is an independent tabulator that goes through and says, whatever is tabulated, those results that we get, those are the results in the independent tabulator. They need to match. They do not in any way speak to each other. These are all some of the things that I've done, and I'm happy to speak to some of the others, but these are just some of the things I've done. But who am I? I moved here 12 years ago. I've been working in Charlotte County for 17, actually really 20 years when I used to bring Catherine Harris, your former Congresswoman and Secretary of State who oversaw the 2000 recount, when Florida elections weren't exactly on the front page of the papers for all things good for the hanging Chad. But I did work for Catherine Harris, brought her down here for Lincoln Day dinner. And ever since then, I've been working in Charlotte County. I've been immersed in this community. I've raised my son here. I've married my husband here, a 20-year veteran of the U.S. Army, on my lunch break last year. I always joke about that, but we really did. It was June 1st. My budget was due, so he was a good man and said okay to that. Anyways, but I've raised my son here. I've been nothing more than a good steward to this party. I had an office earlier. I think it was Ab Mateo or Jerry talked about the headquarters. I had an office in the headquarters. It was me, Raul, Betty, if everyone knows them, I'm sure you do. I think it was Bill Folke was in there, Jean Murtha. I was the one 17 years ago going across the bridge with our signs and doing the bus tours and everything else. I've gotten many conservatives elected in this county. I have been nothing more than a good steward to this community, not only for this party, but I have worked tirelessly in my off time serving a non-for-profits. I have done nothing more than to give every single minute of my time to this community to better it for all of us, for our children. My son is 14. He is going to be going into high school, into Charlotte High. He was raised here. There's nothing more important to me than ensuring this community. That's why the partnerships and my endorsements matter, because partnerships matter. The fact that I've worked here and lived here and everybody here knows me and understands my morals, my values, my ethics, that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I tell you that I don't know, I'm going to follow through and I will get you the answer, because it's not my job as a supervisor of elections to know everything. It's to have a team behind me, and I do, that understand the value and the rule of law, and that we will ultimately always ensure that your elections are free, fair, safe, and accurate, because that's what you want every single day. Every single day. And that's all you should want. This is America. This is America, and it is a democracy, and the democracy is alive. And when I teach the election worker classes, which I do personally, you want to know why? Because I love being hands-on with them. They give me the energy to keep going. Thank you, ma'am. They give me the energy to keep going because they're the gatekeepers of our democracy. There's 400, your neighbors, your Publix workers, right? Your lawn guys, whoever it is. 400 people step forward. Yes, they're paid. But this is a very tough job, especially right now. Think about it. After 16 and 2020, all eyes are on elections. You know what so many of them say? I moved here. I moved from there. I want to know, are elections safe and secure? I say, come on, let's go. I want you on my team. I want you to see the layers and layers and layers of security that we do. Every single solitary time after, they come to me and they say, holy moly. They're like, this is a lot. And I'm like, I'm glad you understand that. Keep coming back. I want you here because you're the gatekeepers. They're my army out there. They are doing everything to ensure you have a seamless and wonderful process on election day. But guess what? If not, we're not perfect. Planning, implementation, and assessment. That's what we do. You plan for anything, you implement it, but after you have to assess. I don't have an ego about this job. I don't think I'm perfect. But you know what I will do? I'll listen to you. I will always take the meeting and I will always listen to you. Hey, I needed this. Hey, I think this could be done a little bit better. Okay, let's try that out. That's why I've gone around the state and I've traveled and I've gone to other counties and I've watched their LNAs. I've been a part of their elections process. I've sat on their canvassing, their LNA, watched every bit of it. I've been an assister. I've opened vote by mail, right? To understand what it takes to be a supervisor here. I'm getting the pull off and I will respect you because I appreciate you because she's an educator and I don't want any heat. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm Leah Valenti, your supervisor of elections, asking for your vote August 20th.
I don't know. I'd like to have a little more enthusiasm. I thought she did good until she told me her husband was in the Army. Speaking from an Air Force background. Anyway, great presentation. Thank you very much. I think you did a terrific job. Now, how did Israel get up there? Leah did that. I didn't do it.
Sorry.
There we go. David Kalin. You're up, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for having us out here tonight. It's a great opportunity for the two candidates here to be able to talk to you about what they bring to the table. I've been here just about 10 years, Charlotte County, actually snowbirding a little bit longer than that. Put 3 of my kids of 4 through Charlotte High. Good school for the kids, learned a lot. They went on to local college as well as Charlotte Tech. My wife Tammy over here, she's been by my side through this. She has been through these campaigns before. I was a commissioner out of the state of Pennsylvania. That has afforded me a little bit of understanding of what goes on in our election systems as well as our county operations. But my background is probably the most important part of doing this job. I grew up as an IBM kid. Anybody that has had an IBM career or been in an IBM family knows you're suckered right into that technical side of the world. So I learned to program at 6 years old at machine code, long before we had DOS or BASIC or Windows. It has been my life. That is what I have done. I've been an electrical engineer, electrical design. So once I graduated high school, I was immediately brought on by a Department of Defense contractor. I worked designing and building guidance computers for rockets, spacecraft, submarines, and other projects. Worked in systems integration, interfacing humans with machines, equipment, ensuring reliability across battlefields, especially equipment that is going to be in space travel. You're not going to pick it up and repair it tomorrow. So we planned for longevity, we planned for accuracy, we ensured that our product was delivered properly. I decided to leave the Department of Defense and helped a friend with a construction company for a short period. I realized set and steel is not for me. I'm an IT guy. So I got hired back by a local bank. It's actually a subsidiary of PNC Bank out of the Northeast. I managed their IT, their security, and at that time, the emerging online banking system. All of us use it like it's nothing today, but writing those codes to ensure the security of your money, to ensure nobody was hacking that money and getting into your accounts. That was my job. Ensured systems access control throughout our locations, ensuring that the personnel were able to get into the locations they needed to, ensure that our time safes worked correctly. It's a very important position handling that, as well as our telecom and communications and managing a team of people underneath me. I decided the bank does not pay enough in the IT industry, so I opened my own IT business, very successful out of the Northeast for many years. I rode the Y2K wave. I had military contracts. I had police departments, municipalities. So I served government agencies on a regular basis. Ultimately, after Y2K, a competitor wanted my business. They wanted my contracts. They wanted my vendors, the folks I'm using. I was more than happy to take a slight early retirement so that I could stay home for a few years and homeschool and raise 4 of my kids. I will never regret taking a little time off of work to do that, but at the same time signed up to run for office and be that commissioner out of the state of Pennsylvania, where we worked tirelessly to reduce cost for our taxpayers, ensure that our pension plans were viable into the future, change the way contracts were written for our FOP, for our Teamsters, for our workers, as well as change some laws in the state of Pennsylvania to make it better for those that followed. We decided, due to some health reasons, to move south. I do not do well in the cold. So here we are. We settled in beautiful Punta Gorda, and I have not regretted it a day in my life. It is absolutely beautiful here. I immediately got hired on with Allegiant Air, not just as a flight attendant, but they knew my skills and my abilities, so they hired me on as well as a air transportation supervisor. That is somebody that works directly between the FAA and the airline for compliance to ensure that you're following all federal air regulations to the T. I'm that guy that I had friends on the crew, but the day I walked in with the second bag to do my audit, you're nobody's friend that day because they know you're going to do your job. And even if you're a friend and there's a mistake made, there's going to be a report, there's going to be a corrective action, and they're going to move forward and ensure that that employee or whoever that committed that issue that day had a corrective plan, and we all work together to institute that plan. I look at our election systems the same way. I see many of you out there looking at this, you question what could happen in Charlotte County. Being analytical, being that IT technician, you're always looking for what broke, where there's a loophole, what is happening, who's there to infiltrate your systems, because there are a lot of bad players out there. And if anybody in this room thinks nothing happened in 2020, you're sadly mistaken. There is enough evidence that has come forth over the years to show what has happened in 2020. Thank God the court cases are just now making it to the court system to vindicate some of those folks that made those claims. But we've got to look at our election systems. We've got to be very detailed in it, having those teams of professionals that understand what they're doing. I'm bringing somebody from the forensic side of the sheriff's department with me. That is somebody who's going to sit there and look, they're going to monitor, they're going to see what we need to do to ensure that not just our ballots are secure, but everything that is done online between our machines, our equipment, our EVIDs, our data transmission, everything that happens right down to our social media accounts. Because I will tell you, there's so many nefarious players out there in this world that would want to change what is going on in this great nation. And if we are not ever vigilant, using the skills that I have to ensure that there are no bad actors infiltrating our elections, we're going to have issues if you're not paying attention. So with that, I bring that skill set to this job, as well as my management skills. I've managed hundreds of people over the years. I've always worked to be that manager that you work with somebody. You show compassion, you have sternness. You have folks that understand that they need to respect your position. They also respect your job that you've got to do, as well as you respect the job they're doing. You've got to uplift those employees and treat those employees with the respect that they deserve, because if not, you're not going to have that loyal workforce. You're also not going to have a productive force. So understanding that management skills and interfacing with people, equipment, machines, and the public is something I've done my entire life. I'm not going to sit here and go on and on about having skills doing the position. Ms. Valente has already been in this position for a year. I was not appointed. I'm running for this job. I'm working very hard for this job because I think it'll make a difference here. It's not that I have to have this job. I retired from the airline in 2023. My wife and I run a small farmer's market out off of Vermont Road. It is doing very well. It's growing rapidly. We also help an additional about 28 local farms be successful by bringing their goods to market at our store. So I am about building our community, uplifting our community, working with those partners throughout the community. So as your next SOE, I can assure you, I will be there to work with you, answer your questions, help you understand the nuances of the data systems, the paper systems, the systems integration, and what truly goes on behind the doors and what we need to do to secure it. I have given out my business card to just about everybody out there in the county. That is my personal phone number. It is on 24/7, and yes, I do get those 3 a.m. calls. I will be there to answer your call. I'm an open book. However, I would like to bring something up very quickly. Do you have it on here, Jerry?
You kill this. Give me a step in there a second.
Yep.
Could you guys find anything on that webpage? There you go.
So now I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Some of the documents you folks have on your tables that were brought in here tonight, as well as a newspaper article yesterday. I come from an industry where if you see something, you're required to say something. If you don't, people die, things get stolen, accidents happen. So I came into possession with some documentation as well as some computers last January. I went to the Secretary of State's office. They did not call me back. There are other individuals that went to the Secretary of State's office. There is documented evidence of those people going to the Secretary of State's office to no avail. I will let you know what is in there. As you see in this first slide, there's a computer that was pulled out of a dumpster at the SOE's office. This was not under Leah Valente's watch. It was in between supervisors of elections. It was not her fault for what had happened. But as you can see the name on that computer, this is the computer turned on its side. That's the hard drive still fully intact in pristine condition inside that computer. As an IT expert, technical technician understanding electrical engineering and design, that is a fully working hard drive. The drive was removed because I was asked by the state of Florida to remove the drive and send only that to them. That is a picture of the hard drive, which later in the reports was deemed to be smashed with a hammer. Now, all these items were stored at my attorney's or former attorney's office, Mr. Leskovich, who ultimately turned them over to the Secretary of State's office, or FDLE. As you can see from this photo, that hard drive is not damaged. It has not been hit with a hammer, and it has not been pried open. The bag of shredding is obviously not Post-it notes, as mentioned by the state. Those are ballot sleeves, voter registrations, and numerous other documents. This photo was sent to me. It was never in my possession, but it was a photo sent to me by a poll worker who these thumb drives fell out from under the seat in an election van during early voting during the primary. Yep. So what I want to let you know, facts matter. If you see something, say something. Yep, that's fine. So, thank you.
This is part of the problem. I kept hearing both sides, and I kept thinking there's something wrong here. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to let you guys make up your minds. So I've asked you guys to write questions down. If you have other questions you want to ask during the questioning, and I've already contacted we have a lot of questions here. I've already contacted, I was talking to this lady over here, Vanessa Oliver, about the bar. The bar will stay open until 11 o'clock until we can finish. I'm just kidding. So there's a lot of duplicative questions here, and I've asked these ladies to go ahead and go through that. And I'm going to turn it now over to our moderator. And who would you like up here first?
Are they gonna stand?
They'll stand right here.
So, it's because each question is going to be, when you have a specific question, you'll have 3 minutes to answer it. If somebody needs a rebuttal, they'll have 2 minutes to rebut. Some of these questions are for both of you, and some of the questions are for one of you. So it would be better if we could both be close to the microphone at all times so that we could have this conversation without people having to run around.
Let me get out of your way. There you go. You got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, guys. So, the first question that I found was what qualifies you to hold this position, but I think that you both answered that, don't you think? Is there anything else you'd like to say? Okay, so we're gonna move forward from that. Okay, the first question is actually for both of you, and Leah, I'd like you to answer first if you would mind. There are rumors of voters having their party affiliation changed after renewing a driver's license or changing their address. What do you say about that?
Got you. I just addressed this in election worker training today. So if you go to the DMV and you change any information at the DMV, and why isn't Vicky Potts here? I tell you, she could stand up, or Doug Pete, her IT guy, who also clarified this issue for me. Because I had questions, because I had heard it, and I said, I want to delve in more. I did so much deep diving research that I had the DMV bring me records for folks that came to the DMV and registered, and I wanted to check their registration. I did this for 3 weeks. I had them bring the records to me, and I had my voter registration department check those records to match, to see if they matched. Every single one of them matched. So when you go to the DMV and you change, let's say your license, your address, you move here, right? If you change your party affiliation, the person on the other side of the glass has no idea no idea of your party affiliation. That's all on your side, and it's a touch screen, right? And you have to sign off on that. So when you sign off on that, they don't even have on their side what party you are affiliated with. I get on my end, push through what we'd call suspense. On my end, we get what's called suspense, and we pull you through. We get your information from the DMV. Now, if you sign a voter registration application, that's your signature on there. If you are, or if you do not, choose a party affiliation and it is defaulted to NPA, my office then sends you a letter and says, hey, you were defaulted to NPA. Here's your voter registration card reflecting that. If you do not want to be a non-party affiliation, here is a voter registration application. Send it back to us. And as soon as you do, you will receive a new voter information card for the party of your choice. But it is only, and let me clarify, it is only if the voter does not choose on their end a party affiliation. It is completely up to the voter. We do not default anybody to any party affiliation. It comes to us from the voter, and those applications from the DMV have a signature at the bottom. So the folks that showed up to the PPP, right, and said, well, I thought I was a Republican, but I guess I'm an NPA, you won't let me vote today. Some of them voted provisionals. And those provisionals come back to the canvassing board. And when we reviewed them, we would pull up all of their voter registration data. They had signed on the dotted line as an NPA, and they had voted, many of them, as NPA before. I'm just here to let you know that we do not, in the Supervisor of Elections office, have anything to do with your party affiliation. You have to have a wet signature on your party affiliation for your voter registration application or your DMV. Thank you. Again, teacher, not messing with her.
I heard a lot of the same complaints out there that was going on. What I do have here, because I did dig into the situation, contacted the state DMV as well as our state Senate. So what I have here is a bill that is being put through this fall in the next legislative session. It is CSHB 135, and it actually addresses the motor voter issue with the change in party affiliation, actually making it unlawful for the folks at the DMV to make those changes, but also ensuring that those changes pass through when renewing, changing an address, or renewing your license. So that is actually, they don't make bills unless there's a problem. So here it is, CSHB 135. You've got to have your ear to the ground. You've got to be paying attention to what's going on out there and understand what is happening at the voter level. Well, we may be able to check a few voters. We had enough voters that raised the concern. I did the homework. We're not generating a law for no reason. Thank you.
May I have a quick rebuttal? I'm not running for state representative. That's these individuals here. I don't change the law. I uphold the law. That is the law. I get the voter registration applications, the party affiliation from the DMV or from your party, your voter registration applications. It is not on our end to change your party affiliation, nor do we. So I just want to make that clear. I am a legislative representative body of the Supervisor of Elections for District 8. I do have policy making in my background, and the wonderful things about relationships, as well as if Vanessa or Steve or whomever, Danny Nix, gets to State House, I'll get the call and say, hey, does this make sense for you? Does this make sense? Does this actually work in the ministerial administration of elections? But keeping your ear to the ground is very important. But again, I uphold the law. I do and have and gather the information that we're with, but we do not change your party affiliation.
Thank you. Leah, this next question is for you.
Yes, ma'am.
specifically. What have you done to assure that the voter rolls are clean and unqualified people will not vote? I specifically received probably 8 questions about illegals voting.
Sure. Well, that's a hot topic. I I would expected you to say 30 or 40 or more. It's all over the news. It's the number one thing. So again, supervisor of elections, we are deemed with and have to uphold the law. So what we do in the supervisor of elections office, we get the voter registration applications. If anybody wants to register to vote, they have to provide their license, their ID, and the last 4 digits of their social security. That goes up to the Division of Elections. If there's any questions, it comes back down to us. So if that person registers to vote, just to be clear, if that person votes, it's a 3rd-degree felony. I understand everybody believes that there are, tons of people in Florida voting illegally. But I believe that, and know that in Charlotte County, I think since my tenure, please don't hold me to this, I think I've gotten a hold of, I think it was three illegals, 2 of them, sadly, registered, I think it was 1 or 2 of them, sadly, registered to vote when they were 18 years old in high school, and they were told it was extra credit. And they didn't realize that if they registered to vote and they weren't an American, a legal citizen, that it was a felony. They thought they got the extra credit. And then they were told if you vote, it's extra credit again. So he voted. Never voted again. He went and got his, I think it was a citizenship. And that's how both people came to us, was through their citizenship. You can shake your head all you want. These are real stories. Went to get his citizenship, and he came in the office and he cried because he couldn't get his citizenship because he didn't know, because he was 18 and thought he was doing the right thing. Being an American, he thought he lived here. He cried because he can never be an American citizen ever. And granted, you guys, I'm not making excuses for this guy that voted illegally. I'm not in any way. But not everybody that is put on a platform and said they are doing the most wrong and the most evil. But when they're made available to us, we hand it in to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement immediately, to OECS, and we have them investigated if we ever find out about anything. And when we're asked about it, or if anyone challenges a voter, we're the first people, because we want to ensure that everybody who says they are who they are is legally voting. Also, the supervisors of elections did get together with the association, and we do and have tried to work for legislation so that the real IDs, if they are not a citizen, it will have a moniker of some sort on the back, collaborating with the DHSMV to have something on it that says non-citizen, whatever the moniker is, so that supervisors of elections office know that you're not a legal citizen. We have tried to collaborate and work towards ensuring illegals are not voting.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick follow-up question for you. What would you do to ensure that illegals and people aren't voting twice?
So I'm already doing that. So I championed for the legislative bill this past year for E-Verify to be put on our voter rolls, past and present. Unfortunately, I will tell you that bill was shot down due to some lobbyists. Now, my opponent just talked about the association. That would be called FSE Incorporated. That is Florida Supervisors of Election Incorporated. Your tax dollars pay for it. They have a lobbyist firm on staff called Rumba Consulting. They lobbied against the E-Verify bill. It did not happen this year. We need E-Verify at a minimum. I don't want to wait around for other legislation or fancy IDs on Real ID. We have an opportunity to have our requirement to check citizenship. So when you go to register to vote, if you have a Florida license or a social security number, which many residents do, but not citizens, and you check that little box that says, I'm a US citizen, that's the end of it at the supervisor of elections side. It goes to Tallahassee to be checked. We need to be checking first. We need to have a system in place so we are not wasting the time and the energy. Additionally, there is software by 2 different companies out there. One is called Eagle Eye. There is another one. It is a privately owned corporation, owns it. Less than 45 minutes. It will interface with every agency throughout the country to verify if somebody's voting somewhere else, registered in multiple locations, or illegal. So we need to start implementing that software here and using that AI software to chew through our voter rolls to ensure that we do not have people that are not supposed to vote on our voter rolls.
I did a little fact checking because I'd heard him say that a few times. Senator Albritton has absolutely said he's never worked with you on any E-Verify.
I need to rebuttal that. Sat down and had a 2.5-hour lunch with Senator Albritton at Zoot's restaurant. He absolutely said he was going to push it through. Made it very clear he was going to push it through. I had my good friend Dr. Pitts here sit through that meeting.
Okay, we're gonna have another question.
I'm sure I was lied.
We already did a rebuttal.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this question is for both of you, and this also came up quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Can you comment on the Florida Supervisor of Elections lobbying efforts?
Oh, that's his favorite lie. Please, by all means. That he just brought it up, so by all means.
So I've asked for quite a few records for my opponent for a couple of months now for Florida Supervisor of Elections. The pay stubs, the payments to it, any records pertaining to FSE Incorporated. I have not received those records yet. I'm still waiting on those. Florida Supervisor of Elections Incorporated has a firm on staff. You can go out and confirm this. It's right on their website. They talk very clearly about it. And the staff that's on board is Ramba Consulting. There is a series of consultants there, as well as they are a law firm as well. And they do lobbying either for the supervisors of elections or against bills that they don't want pushed through. It's very plain and simple. It is a lobbyist firm. It is a union with your taxpayers' dollars paying for this organization. Now, in full transparency, I had to let Ms. Valente know that she now has my 10-day notice to litigate to get these records because I've not been able to obtain them.
He did. Yeah, that's not a lie. So we're in the middle of, so it was during ballot qualification, our qualifying period, and the ballot design. So as you can understand, we don't have a large, voluminous staff, but his public records, his 8 of them, are extremely voluminous. So it's not about not trying to get him his public records request for his FSC, for my hotel expenditures, for going to a training conference. Let me be clear, a training conference where all 67 supervisor of elections and their staff get together with the Department of State and the Division of Elections, right? And they come and we talk about law changes and how to best practice, polling place procedure manuals. That's when they roll everything out. They bring vendors in so that we can better administer elections. Our staffs get together and find out, hey, how do you handle angry voters? Hey, how do you handle your secure ballot intake stations? Hey, how many polling locations do you have? That's what FSC, that's what we get together and do for 3 days. Whether it's in Orlando or in Estero, that's what we're doing. But right now, let's get back to his public records request. No, I don't have the manpower and time for the voluminous request that he asked for. And he was responded to because guess what? He absolutely will get them. There's nothing to hide. If you want to know what hotel we stayed at, the Holiday Inn Express or the Hilton Garden Inn, I have no problem saying what happened or where we were. But it's important to understand that when we're traveling around the state, I need training, my team needs training because we're not know-it-alls. We don't know everything and we're not perfect. The only perfect person, last time I checked, was nailed to a cross. So he will get his public records request. By all means, he'll share them. We all know that. And I'm not afraid of anything. But my team right now has a ballot to design so that all of these candidates here, guess what? Don't you want to be on a ballot and ensure, right? And don't you want to ensure that everything is properly done? That's our commitment right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. This also came in for both, and I'm going to read it just exactly as it is because I can't say that I completely understand it. Failure is not an option is the reason that the testing of tabulation equipment as per Florida election law, known as logic and actually test, is important. There is a time frame set for the test and in which candidates, committees, and the public may view. Explain the importance of the procedure and security of the test, and if an error occurs on the tabulating equipment, how is the error corrected, and is the state election committee notified immediately?
That's a mouthful, isn't it? I swear. That's my whole life is that, those kind of questions and answering them and being a part of the process. So logic and accuracy test, we notified the parties. It's on our website. Logic and accuracy is a public test to where everybody can come in and you can see exactly the machines that we are, a subsect of the machines that we're going to use. So the DS200s, the 850s, and those are all big fancy words, right? I hate using them even in training. I'm like, listen, tabulators, optical scanners, vote by mail readers, because that's what people understand. But all of that is tested in front of the public so that you understand that we have an output, we have a predetermined results, and it shows you that everything is tested. But what's tested in front of you is just tested in front of you. We test 100% of the machines in the background, and if something isn't working, because hello, machines sometimes don't work, it is not used for that election. And what's also important to understand is everything that is sent out to a polling location is certified by the Department of State. We cannot, in Charlotte County or any other county in Florida, by Florida election law, procure anything unless it is certified by the state, not even a software update. It must be certified by the state, checked and rechecked before elections. Then we do it in front of the public to ensure that everything is accounted for. The machines we test, they're sent out to your polling locations. So if you are ever interested in how we do things, I will do transparency tours. I have done transparency tours, and we do logic and accuracy tests. It's July 22nd, 9 a.m. in the historical courthouse. We will start upstairs, and then we will go downstairs to the tab room or the fish bowl, whatever I like to call it, the tab room where we canvass every day of canvassing. Our canvassing board dates are up. So if you want to be engaged in a part of the process and see how we do things, it's all open to the public. And I really do welcome you, because canvassing really is one of my favorite parts, because it's so ministerial and procedural, and the public gets to watch exactly what you do, as they should. As they should. Thank you.
So, state has minimum guidelines for testing at LNA. It's a percentage of your ballots that have to go through. So, are you satisfied with flying on an airline that performs the minimum amount of safety requirements on it? Or a bank that provides the minimum amount of security for your money? So I've got a new plan to implement, which we're going to ensure accuracy through our machines. So what we're going to do is randomize the test. It's no longer predetermined. You're going to have two bags, number of 1 through whatever machine we have, number 1 through 100 plus marbles for the testing. The smallest one being the minimum test required. It's going to be totally randomized on up to multiple times the minimum required test. And the reason for that is after 2020, there were so many questions. They're skewing the machines. They're cheating us. They're running an algorithm. They're cheating it. So this is to put the money where the mouth is, to say we're running a truly randomized accuracy test, and it's accurate. Or if there's an issue, as the state says, if there's an accounting error in the system, you've got to remove that machine. A report is written, and then additional machines are required to be tested to ensure it is accurate as per Florida law before you bring another machine in for that testing procedure. So we are going to truly randomize the testing to take some of the questions out of the accuracy of the machines for those that have questions on their accuracy.
So the machines are randomized, and so are the, excuse me, the machines are randomized. We don't pick them. It's all randomized. And so are the results. We know they're predetermined. But is everybody aware that when you go to vote, right, everyone goes to vote, they check in at the EVID e-poll book, and then they go and put their ballot in the scanner. The scanner has the ballot in the bottom of it that drops in. It has a configuration tape, and it has a media stick in it. So you have the EVID check-in that's online every single time you check in. We have no control over that. It's immediately put. And you watch, guys, you watch it every day. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We have the public count on the DS200. It's like a speedometer, goes from 0 to, however many votes. Then you have the ballots. In the physical ballots, you have the configuration report, which prints out and has every single solitary race and results, and the media stick. So my question is where is the fraud in I'm unclear as to the randomizing, because we have to ensure if I just had 2 elections and we had a 100% audit after, not the 1% or, one precinct that we did 100%, and there were 17,584 ballots cast. The automated system after, which I have no control over and has to be reported, 17,508. Like, that tells you that when you cast your ballot, there are checks and balances. You sign your name when you get there. I have your signature. That says your precinct, where you're supposed to be, right? Everything is accounted for. And then I have the ballot. I have the actual results on a media stick. It comes back to me. We take it out of a bin, and then it goes into a separate automated system, completely accurate.
Thank you so much. So on that note, Mrs. Valenti, I want to ask you another question.
Yeah.
Also on people's minds, I'm sure you know. Can a person change the vote count on a tabulation machine using a cell phone?
I think that's a question for Mr. Kalin, because I heard that was his big talking point tonight. First, no, we don't have internet access to our, who said what? I'm sorry, did someone say? There is no internet. There is no internet in our DS200s. There's no internet. If you're speaking about the electronic poll book, understand it's an electronic poll book. It has nothing to do with a DS200 tabulator, Lynn. Nothing. It is 2 separate entities. Our electronic poll book, by the way, is updated in real time. It's updated in real time. All it is voter registration information. So if you need to be pulled in from another county, you call the office, you're really a registered voter in Florida. You might just be moving, we may need to move you in from Lee County, right? We update it in real time, bam, real time. There is no internet. There's no internet on the DS200s. That's your optical scanner. There is none. I don't know who told you there were. There is not. So how can you take a cell phone and hack a machine that doesn't have it? And I will say one more point. In order to hack any machine, so everybody's clear, you need unfettered access to it. Tell me a time when you can have, unless you buy one off the dark web and in your garage or shed, you mess with it. That's called unfettered access. That is the same as leaving your car with the windows down, the keys in it in a bad part of the neighborhood with a sign on it that says, "I'll be back tomorrow." Are you really a car thief, or are you an opportunist? You cannot get to my DS200s actually, I take that back, your DS200 optical scanners. They are multi-authenticated. There are multi-layers of security. One person in the room has a key to that DS200. That is a clerk. The other person is a person of opposing party. You'd have to remove every single poll worker. Not only would you have to remove every single poll worker, you'd have to remove, and there's a lot in here, every poll watcher. How are you going to do that? How are you going to get that level of mass collusion? Then guess what, guys? My office would know, because we watch the EVID check-ins every minute of every day. We would see there's no EVID check-ins. We would say, what's going on in there? Right? If someone's just in a room hacking one of our machines. I understand the rhetoric and I get it. It is scary, right? You hear it a lot. But I took this job because I believed in voting and I believe in democracy. And I, as a supervisor of elections, it's my mission to incite confidence and maximize voter participation, not tell you your vote may not count. Because I would never stand here, ever, and tell you that if I didn't fully believe it.
So, you can either trust somebody who is appointed to the position and has not been an electrical engineer or designer for many, many years, or the individuals who have actually taken the machines apart. So, just so you know, there's a Telrite cellular modem in the DS200s. You can believe what's going on here. That's your choice. However, the facts are the facts out there. They have been hacked by children with cell phones because it is a cellular network. You do not have to be in the building. So, in 2018, a thumb drive went missing out of one of our election machines. Between point A and point B, it only took a phone call to be able to pull those records from VR systems to verify the vote count on that machine. So I will tell you, if it is not connected to the internet, I don't think it's a string in a tin can broadcasting that data. I'm somebody who has been in the IT industry for many, many years. You would believe that our military is unhackable, wouldn't you? I couldn't tell you how many times the NSA has been hacked or the military has been hacked. It happens on a regular basis. They've got people monitoring to shut it down as it occurs. That is why it is so important to have somebody who understands cyber security, especially in the day and age that we are in where everything has gone electronic. Your EVID system is not an instantaneous update. It is up to a 30-minute delay till the rest of the EVIDs in the system have received their data. This is a proven fact out there as a flaw with the EVIDs. Plain and simple, folks.
I'm sorry, but you keep asking like another question. It should have this spirit question.
I have another question. So, Mr. Kalen, if you could come back up, this question is going to be for you.
Yeah.
So, this person wrote this. Mr. Kalen, one of the, I don't want to say that, so I'm going to say somebody has been working hard to discredit you in your research. This led to the question, have you or your family ever been threatened because of it?
Yes, and I'm not the only one running for office that this is happening to.
Thank you. Okay, Leah, this one is for you.
Yes, ma'am.
This person writes this. When I go to charlottevotes.com and look up my voting location, there is a picture of the courthouse and not of my location. What is being done to end this confusion? And multiple people have asked about this.
So the website is SOE, charlottecountyfl.gov. It is not charlottevotes.com. I think that it redirects, but I just want to make sure because she said that. I'm not correcting you. I know you didn't ask the question. No, I'm not correcting you. It's SOE, charlottecountyfl.gov. Here's the thing. Who's perfect? Nobody. Already talked about that. Guys, if you have an issue, I implore you to call my office. Please don't make it political theater. Put it on Nextdoor. Who are you helping if you just talk about it and don't call me and alert and raise a flag and say, hey, fix this? I've had people say, hey, there's a glitch really fast, right? Blah, 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 blah. Guess what? I got someone on it right away. To try to fix it. If you don't call me and you insert your questions here and say, aha, gotcha, who are you getting? You're getting fellow voters who may not be able to find their voting location. Call me. I want to answer your calls. I want my staff to help you. They are amazing, hardworking people who eat, sleep, and breathe elections. They want to help you. So guys, if anything is ever to happen, please call. Let us fix it for you. I shouldn't be hearing about this for the first time today. But in any event, if there's ever an issue, 833-5400.
Thank you. Mr. Kalen, this one's for you. There are always changes to an office when someone new takes over. If you are elected as supervisor of elections, will you be making any changes to the office and satellite offices? And if so, please explain your thoughts.
So yes, there will be changes made. First, removing staff would be foolish. So that rumor, I want to put that to rest right now. People are not getting fired and cleared out of there, just so everybody's very clear about that. That's probably the most foolish move. Even if you're in a hostile takeover of another corporation, you do not remove the staff. Second, what we are going to change at those offices, we're going to put up electronic billboards. we're going to educate our voters right out front. As all the cars are passing on a regular basis, they're going to get educated as to our voting dates, what's going on, who your candidates are. We're going to have that billboard out there. So that is one of the changes that I'm looking through the budget to implement, so that we can educate voters that are coming to those buildings, because many of those buildings are also used for other purposes, such as the Murdoch location as well as San Casa for the DMV, as well as commissioner meetings and other meetings. So being able to hit as many voters and educate them with that electronic billboard is paramount.
Can I just say one thing that Melissa Lockhart is here, City Council, and so is Debbie Lux. My Punta Gorda office is a historical building. I can't put what he said. You can't do that. So in the historical courthouse, it is historical. There is no revisions and everything, and you have to go through the rigors, as they can tell you. While that is a phenomenal idea, and had you come to me, maybe I could look through it. But at the historical courthouse, I am binded to and have to abide by the historical the rules. And probably Teresa Murtha probably knows a little about that on the Historical Society. Yes, sir.
Leah, this is another one that was written. I was a poll watcher at San Casa during 2024 presidential primary. On the first day of early voting, before the polling location was set up for voting, I observed that the secure ballot intake station had numerous mail-in ballots that must have been left in there over the weekend, violating 101.69 of the Florida election laws. How did this happen, and what are you going to do to fix it?
So, that was brought to my attention by numerous folks at the REC. I think it was Mark, I don't know how to say his name, Circuso. Yep, you guys know it. Right, so yes, he brought it to my attention, and others. I think I spoke with Carl York and Carolyn Lasky and others. So in speaking with them, I fully explained to them that no, I'm not. And I'm not committing any crime or anything. If you read the law, it says during early voting, right? That was the first day of early voting. That was the question you asked, right? Yep. The ballots were picked up that night. So what law did I break? The vote by mail, the secure ballot intake station came directly from, and was never out of supervision of Supervisor of Elections employees at the San Casa location. It was never out. It was rolled from the office into the early voting location. The ballots were picked up. So Friday was the last day of before early voting. They were picked up earlier that day. I can't close the secure ballot intake station down after the ballot runner leaves. What am I going to tell people? No, the ballot runner came. You can't put your ballot in there after 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So if there were a few in there, that secure ballot intake station was rolled around, literally, other side of the wall, into early voting. Those election workers did their exact due diligence and what I trained them to do. Open the emergency door, open the bottom door, check the bins, right? I did not at any point ever leave vote by mails during early voting, as you stated, in a secure ballot intake station. And I have every bit of evidence to prove it. It'll just be another public records request, which I welcome.
I think we're missing the point on that one. The box was already in the location. It was not wheeled around from the other room. It was already there when they unlocked the facility that morning.
That's what I said.
I said the secure intake ballot station was not moved around to the other location in the morning. It was there over the weekend in that other location already.
It's still a secure room that is under me.
Section 10169 is very clear, as well as the 101.031, that they are to be emptied at the end of the day.
10169 says at the early voting. That's amazing. He likes to leave things out. He's not reading the law. The law says after early voting, it must be emptied. Here's the thing. You know what? So here's, he literally, guys, he walked back. He walked back. Here's the thing. If anything ever, guess what? They came to me, they addressed it with me. I said, even though I know, it was from David Kalin and the questions, I still said, I understand. I get it. I understand. And if that's a concern of yours, I hear you. And you know what? We will make security policies and procedure updates. I never, ever, ever, ever said that we would not do that. And if that's what makes you guys feel better, the voters, I will do it. But I did not, and I will not stand here and say that I ever did anything to commit any kind of crime against Florida election law. I'm just not going to, because I did not. But if you have a problem with it, by the way, you did not come to me, others did, and I wish you would have come to me and spoken to me about it. Shouldn't he go first?
We can do it that way.
Yeah, I started, so that's
Okay.
okay.
Mr. Kalin, I apologize. Thank you for reminding me. Appreciate it.
Again, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, taking the time to listen to both of us. We have a little bit differing views on what election security is. Given my experience in the security industry, as well as the IT business, I'm a very thorough individual. My ear is to the ground. The folks are talking. I'm here to ensure you that we will get this done. We will ensure secure and accurate elections. We will always be transparent. One of my actual first things on the job, we talk about ballot images. We're going to end this question to hand count what happened, was there mistakes in the ballots. Our machines are capable of keeping every ballot image. We're going to do that. We're going to put them in a secure file that you can access and read online, so you can sit from the comfort of your own living room and do your own hand count. You will not need an act of court or public records request to be able to see the actual ballots. We're going to make it easy for you to see the transparency in our election systems. It's a very simple process. It's a flip of a switch and a location on a website with security. So if you want somebody that is going to understand the systems, is going to put together a team that is definitely going to make you proud and make you feel very comfortable coming out and voting that your election is secure, I'm the guy to vote for, August 20th. Thank you.
So we do have what he's saying, and it's a jump drive, a public records request. I don't know how much jump drives are. He'd probably know. He's the IT expert, as stated. $20. You can have every single ballot, 100% ballot digital image. So we already have that. If you would like, after any election, after the PPP, you're more than welcome to have that. That is something that was certified by the state. Not every county has, but I prioritized it, because if I'm going to stand on and say I want free, fair, and accurate elections, I better be able to say, and this is how I'm able to prove it. Our election machines, like I've stated, they are procured through a process. They have to be certified by the state. I cannot just buy them on my own. I have to get approval from the Board of County Commission. We are going to be procuring new machines, DS300s, and I have to go through the approval process for that. But you know what is most important? I'm here. I've been here. You all know me, most of you. I'd say about 80%. You know me in this community. You know my heart. That's what matters. You know I answer the phone. You know I answer emails. You know I'm the person that will always be accountable. I have not run and run and run for positions. I have only always wanted to be the supervisor of elections because of my experience in my past. I will always continue to fight for democracy and uphold your right to vote. That's why, no, I'm not going to ask for your vote on August 20th. I'm going to ask for your vote after vote by mail drops. If that's what you do, I will ask for your vote during early voting. By the way, early voting is the historical courthouse in Westport, the Centennial Rec Center, and Inglewood Mac v. Horton. That's also where the secure ballot intake stations will be until early voting. I do feel it's incumbent upon me to make sure that I ask for your vote. If it's vote by mail, if it's early voting, start August 5th to 18th or August 20th. I am your supervisor of elections, and I'm asking you to have confidence in me to keep me as your supervisor of elections. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless America.
Absolutely amazing. I was listening to these guys talk and realizing how difficult it is to run in today's day and age the technology that's needed to keep our elections secure. It's amazing. And we don't know that. We don't realize it. I was thinking of a meeting we had in my office. We're kidding and joking about, I got this Alexa there. And someone said, aren't you afraid, what, 2, 3, 4 people there, that Alexa's listening to us? And the guy laughed, and the wife laughed, Alexa laughed, Siri laughed. I'm telling you, they're listening everywhere. Now, a week ago, I went out and got a new car. Now, it's been 11 years since I've had a new car, but the same kind. Do you have any idea? It's going to take me months to try to figure out what all the electronics are going to do. I am serious. But listen, now you know why I wanted to have both these people here, because there's no way I could listen to either one of them and make any sense of what's I had no idea how difficult it was to run an office just to vote. It was easy 20 years ago. Today it's not, I assure you, and it's very, very difficult, and it requires a lot of technology. Now, when I leave here, I'm going to have David come out and talk to me about my car. Or maybe we can just sit here and talk about my car. My car will listen. I have no idea. But this is tough. So anyway, it's when we finish here tonight, let me offer something else to you. I go on Vanessa's website a lot, and I pick up things out there, and I'm sorry, lost my head. The other Vanessa, Leah, sorry. I go on her website a lot, and I pick up all this information, and I had to lay it out, and there's a copy on the desk out there when you leave. There's also a copy on the Sun Herald's newspaper article on what they had, because not everybody here subscribes to the Sun Herald. And I do. Just out of personal defensive, I do. Okay. Now, we're going to finish up the night, and I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to go ahead and do the, have a motion to dismiss. We got it? Okay. Now, all in favor? Aye. The bar's still open. No, I'm kidding. Okay. And I'm going to do 2 things. We're going to have the drawing, and then I'm going to show you a short video about tomorrow's election. Debate. Tomorrow's debate. You ready? Okay. Who's got the tickets?